everyone. I, Suvarna Muzumdar, Assistant Professor in Electronics and Communication Department of Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, welcomes you on a lecture on 8085 microprocessor. In this lecture, I am going to cover about the features of 8085 microprocessor and the pin diagram of 8085 microprocessor. Before going to the 8085 microprocessor, just recall how does this microprocessor works. As I told you earlier that in microprocessor there are some instructions that we had written in the memory, and microprocessor fetch that instruction, or you can say takes that instructions from memory. That process is known as fetching an instruction. After fetching that instruction, microprocessor has an register that is known as instruction decoder. It decodes that instruction, and after decoding, some control signals are generated which will help microprocessor to execute that instruction. So, for each and every instruction, microprocessor performs 3 tasks: fetching, decoding and then execution. And this task performed for every instruction till microprocessor gets a last instruction, that is the stop. Here in case of microprocessor programming, the stop is given as a halt signal, or we can have a software interrupt which will suggest microprocessor that is the end of the program. So, till that last instruction, microprocessor execute each instruction in 3 ways: first fetching the instruction, then decoding it and then execution it. So, after performing all these operation that one particular program has completed, after executing all the instruction written in that program, microprocessor then lastly declare the results, whether on the keyboard, whether on the printer side or on a monitor or on in a memory. It can store the results in memory, whatever the instruction given in the program itself. So, whatever the data microprocessor store in itself in the registers, that data is temporarily stored in microprocessor. So, if we want that data for further application, then in our program we have to write some instruction so that the data get copied in the memory for future use. Otherwise, that data can be lost, because the data stored in microprocessor are temporary data. It will store only till the supply is with microprocessor. So, we need a memory, we need an input output device to communicate with microprocessor. Right now we are discussing the working, but now I am going to cover about the features of 8085 microprocessor. That is the basic microprocessor, or you can say the first microprocessor which was used now also in our labs for experimental purposes, and it gives us the basic idea how a microprocessor works. So, the features of 8085 microprocessor is, it is an 8-bit microprocessor. When we say that it is an 8-bit microprocessor, we can say it like that: it can process the data of 8-bit each. So, or I can say, whenever I give an input to an 8085 processor, it takes that data in a bunch of 8-bit. And it can process, or you can say perform any operation, whether it is arithmetic operation, addition, or I can say subtraction, or I can say copying of data, multiplication. Any operation will be performed on 8-bit itself. And as I told, it is general purpose microprocessor, means we can perform any task. It is not this microprocessor is not for some specific task. We can assign any task to this microprocessor. Then it is written, it is like it is capable of addressing 64 kilo of memory. This 64 kilo of memory means 64 kilobyte. We can store our data up to 64 kilobyte. Why 64 kilobyte? Because it is having 16 address lines. So, it is 2 raised to power 16. if we convert it into, it will gives us 64 kilobytes. So number of address lines will gives 2 raised to power, I can take it as in general 2 raised to power n, where n is address line, number of address lines. So from this I can find out what is the memory capacity of any microprocessor. So in case of 8085 we have 16 address lines. So by using this 16 address line we can access maximum 64 kilobyte of memory. Now it is the limit. If I have to I need more memory, then I have to change the microprocessor. That's the case. Now the next is this 8085, it is come into a package of an IC, that is integrated circuit. So it has 40 pin, we can see in detail. Now this 8085 is a digital circuit, so it needs supply to work, that is biasing power supply is required. So the supply that is required by this 8085 is 5 volt supply. Okay. The frequency, as I told you, microprocessor is a digitally programmable device, synchronized device. So it needs a frequency, or we can say clock signal is required, so that it can perform the task in synchronized manner. So to have that, it needs a clock frequency that is of 3 megahertz. So when we say that microprocessor is fast or slow, it depends on the speed, clock frequency. Okay. So here we can say that the speed is 1 by 3 megahertz, or we can say it is in 1 by 3 microsecond is the processing speed of a 8085 microprocessor. And it is an advanced version of 8080A, which is again an 8-bit microprocessor, but this 8085 has some extra features. So we study this 8085 in our syllabus, or we can say it is a basic. From this we can say with the evolution of 8085, with the 8085 we can say the microprocessor evolved, and then it is you can say the base. If we study this working of this, we learn this, then we are able to learn any of the microprocessor. Now pin and signal flow diagram. I can show you the diagram, and then I will show you what is the difference between a pin diagram and signal flow diagram. This is a 40 pin IC. Okay. Here from this this notch and this side, this is my right side, you can say, this will be number 1 pin. Okay. So from notch we can find where is the number 1 pin, then its numbering like 1 2 3 4 till 20, then 21 to 40, and each pin has assigned some name, nomenclature is there, and there each pin, 40 pins have their own specific function. Okay. We will see one by one what are the functions, and we group this pin diagram into 7 groups. So just to remember these 40 pins. Okay. So this is the pin diagram, and this is the signal flow diagram. Here you can see, here we represent it in the form of pins numbering. Here also we are having numbering, but with the direction. Signal flow diagrams will gives us the whether it will give which pin is working as an input pin, means signal is coming towards microprocessor, and out pin means the signal is going out from microprocessor. For example, when I said that microprocessor is communicating with outside world in a serial manner. Serial manner means bit by bit, 1 bit at a time. For that it needs serial input. So this signal SID, it is an input signal. Okay. So whenever microprocessor needs a data serially, the data is traveling on this line, SID line, and it will goes into microprocessor. Okay. When microprocessor has to transfer this data, that the data is inside microprocessor, and microprocessor wants to give this data on your LAN network or your electrical wire. On that, in that case we have to connect this on this SOD line. So this SOD line is the output, that is microprocessor is giving the data out to the outside world. So the arrow is outside. So this is the signal flow representation of all the 40 pins. Okay. Here we can see that VCC, that is 40 pin, VCC, it is power supply. VCC stands for plus power, positive power supply. So here we can connect it to plus 5 volt, and 20 pin is VSS, that is we are considering as a negative supply, or you can say the ground level. So VSS we connected to the ground. X1 and X2, these two pins are used to connect the crystal, that I told you that microprocessor 8085 is 3 megahertz, it needs a clock frequency of 3 megahertz. So we need to connect a crystal oscillator which generate a clock of 3 megahertz. So here at pin number 1 and 2 we are connecting a crystal. This crystal this crystal is of 6 megahertz. We will see why this crystal is of 6 megahertz, but we use here a crystal of 6 megahertz which will provide us a frequency of 3 megahertz inside. Then you can see here that there are some externally initiated signals. These are the externally initiated signals. Okay, these are the last two are the acknowledgement, and the further one are the initiated. Externally initiated signals are means these signals are initiated or generated from another device to get an access of microprocessor. So these signals are interrupt signal, ready signal means any device is slow in process, so it needs microprocessor helps to perform some task, then it will use this ready signal. Hold signal is used by DMA signal. Reset in this signal is used to restart our microprocessor. Last two, these two signals, these two are considered as an acknowledgement signal. Whenever the task, right, interrupt is there. So when microprocessor is interrupted by another device and now microprocessor gives service to that device, it will send an acknowledgement signal. This is INTA bar. This is the acknowledgement to the to that device. This okay, microprocessor is ready to give up service to that particular device. Similarly, when DMA, that is direct memory access controller, wants the control from the buses. I told you in data transfer scheme that a microprocessor needs data from outside world. It can takes the data in different ways. So one of the way is the use of DMA, that is direct memory access controller. In that case, the DMA controller takes the control of buses and helps microprocessor to transfer a large amount of data from input output device to memory. That is the communication between input output is and in between memory without the intervention of microprocessor. So in that case, DMA generate a signal, that is hold, and in response to this signal, HLDA signal is generated by microprocessor. Now these are some control signals, controls and status signal. As I told you, when microprocessor fetch any instruction, it decode that instruction, and after decoding of that instruction, microprocessor will generate this control and status signals indicating that what operation has to be performed by microprocessor, whether microprocessor is reading the data from memory or reading a data from input device or writing a data into a memory or writing a data on the output device. So what operation microprocessor has to be performed, or right now what operation has microprocessor is performing, that all information is given by this control and status signal. Okay, and the next group is address bus, and this higher order address bus, or we can say the address bus. Address lines are used by microprocessor for selection of the outside device. There are, for example, 5-6 devices are connected to a microprocessor. Now microprocessor has to choose to which device it has to communicate. So in that case, it has to generate an address. That address will travel on this address lines, and this address will reach to that particular microprocessor, and microprocessor select that device and communicate with it. So it needs an address bus and it needs a data bus. So in case of microprocessor 8085, the 8 data lines are multiplexed with 8 address lines. This is the multiplexing operation. Okay, we will see in detail further. So now this total 40 pin configuration of 8085 is divided into 7 groups. The first group consists of power supply and frequency signal. The second group consists of data bus and address bus. The third one is control bus. The fourth is interrupt signal. The fifth is serial input output signals, where I told you SID and SOD signals are there, and sixth is DMS signals, and last is the reset signals, which is used by microprocessor either to reset other device or another device use a signal to reset that restart the microprocessor. So, we will see one by one. First, power supply and frequency signal. So, in this 40 pin IC, this is VCC that is connected to 5 volt, and this is VSS, which I connected to the ground when I want to use this microprocessor. Then I have to give a supply a frequency, clock frequency signal. So, here X1 and X2, a crystal is connected. This crystal is connected at X1 and X2 pin, that is pin number 1 and pin number 2, and this crystal is of 6 megahertz frequency. Why we are using 6 megahertz? Because in 8085, after this 1 and 2, there is a frequency divider. Okay. So, whatever the signal is available at 1 and 2 pin, between 1 and 2 pin, this signal is given to the frequency divider circuitry, and that frequency divider circuitry will divide the signal by 2, that the frequency is divided by 2, and then we can have a 3 megahertz signal. So, if I connect a crystal of 3 megahertz, then it will divide that 3 megahertz by 2, and we can have 1.5 megahertz, which is sufficient to run a microprocessor, that is 8085 microprocessor. So, we need a crystal of 6 megahertz or above, and this is the reason why we are having double the frequency. Crystal frequency is double the operating frequency, or you can say if it is given that FC is 8 megahertz, that is crystal frequency is 8 megahertz, then we can say the microprocessor frequency, that is operating frequency, will be FC by 2. Okay. We can't fix it to 3 megahertz, it is in the range. But 8085, because there are different version of 8085, so this range varies. So, depending on that variation, we can choose the crystal frequency, but all the 8085 variants have this frequency divider is there. So, that we have to choose it from data sheet. The data sheet is available with each of the microprocessor. Whenever we purchase any microprocessor, the data sheet will be available from the manufacturer end, and from that we can choose the crystal crystal. Okay. The next is clock output. This X1 and X2 pins are used to give a clock signal to the microprocessor, and this clock out signal, here I can find it out here, this 37 pin. So, this 37th pin is used as a source for another device. So, when we want another device to be in synchronization with microprocessor 8085, in that case we use this clock out signal to drive another device. It will gives a signal frequency to the other device. Okay. And we can say second microprocessor, or we can have a counter, or we can have any register. Wherever a clock signal is required, we can connect that circuitry with this 37th pin. Next group is of data bus and address bus. So, here these pin number 12 to pin number 19, these 8 lines are working as an multiplexed address and data line. Why we are multiplexing address and data line? So as we can have a small pin diagram. If we don't have this multiplexer, then we need 16 different address line, we need 8 different data line. In that case, instead of 40, we will have 48 pin IC. So, to reduce the manufacturing cost, as well as to reduce the size of this 8085 microprocessor, we multiplexed some signals. Okay. So, inside microprocessor there are 2 different buffers, one will store address, one will store data, and outside world we have to demultiplex this signal. So, to demultiplex this address and data lines, we have to use another control signal. We will see that control signal, and this demultiplexing is done so that at a time only the address will travel on this line, and for next time duration it will consider as a data bus. So, for a T1 tier time, so first cycle, first T1 time, first clock cycle, these lines are behaving as an address. It carries a lower address lines, or it will work as a lower address. And after T1 cycle, for next T2 and T3 cycle, it will work as a data lines. Okay. There are total 16 address lines. We will group it into a bit of 2, that is A0 to A7, one bunch. Second bunch is of A8 to A15. So, this A8 to A15, here we can see from 21 to 28. This is, I can like it is higher order address lines. This is lower order address lines, A0 to A7. So, this lower order address line, the address will travel only for one clock cycle, that is T1. On higher address lines, the address will be available for all the clock cycle. Okay. So, we will see in timing diagram or more in more detail how it will look like, but just remember that there are total 16 address lines. We divided into a group of 8. One group is A0 to A7, another group is A8 to A15. A8 to A15 is higher order address lines, and A0 to A7 are multiplexed with data lines, that is D0 to D7. Okay. And this D0 to D7, these lines pin number 12 to pin number 19 will work as a data only in T2 and T3 timing cycle. Okay. Now, as I told you, for multiplexing of address and data lines, we need a signal, and that signal is ALE, address latch enable. Here is this signal at pin number 30. So, this ALE, that is address latch enable, it is available at pin number 30. This signal is used as a enabling signal to a latch which will demultiplex address lines from data lines. Means after ALE signal is high, it indicates that on this lines address is traveling. Okay. When ALE is low, these lines are free for data. Okay. So, I can say that ALE is high, then address is traveling. When ALE is low, data is traveling. Okay. So, address latch enable signal will indicate whether on pin number 12 to pin number 19 address is traveling or data is traveling. Clear? The next control signal is ready signal. This ready signal, it is here at pin number 35. Okay. So, pin number 35 is working as a input signal. Here I am writing as, if we remember the signal flow diagram, this ready signal is an input to the microprocessor. This ready signal is generated from outside device to the microprocessor. This ready signal is generated by any other device, indicating that device is now ready for communicating with microprocessor. And the device, which type of device we can say? The slow peripheral device, which are working at slow speed than the micro 8085 microprocessor. That device, when ready for communicating, ready for sending any data or ready for receiving any data, in that case the signal gets high, and when microprocessor read this signal, microprocessor will transfer the data whether to that device or takes the data from that device. Okay. Next control signals are read RD, that is read signal, WR, that is write signal. These two signals are output signal. With these signals, these read and write signal, it is available at 32 and 31 pin. Okay. So write operation is at pin number 31 and read operation will be done at by 32. Okay, yeah. And this is actually it is having an active low, we can say like this. This is bar indicating that it is an active low signal. Means whenever pin number 32 is having 0 at that signal, indicating that microprocessor is reading something. Okay, when microprocessor has to write something, microprocessor has to send 0 at pin number 31, indicating that it is performing a write operation. Okay. So these control signals are generated by microprocessor. So you can see that these are the output signals. Microprocessor generates this signal to indicate the outside world whether it is reading something or it is writing something. Okay. Then last these three signals combinedly come under this heading, that is status signal. Whenever any user or any programmer or anyone wants to know what type of microprocessor is performing, what is the status of microprocessor, we have to see these three signals. These three signals are at 34, 31 and 29. 34 pin, this is 34 pin, it is available at 33 pin and it is at 29. So 33 pin number, 29 pin number and 34 pin number combinedly gives us a status of our microprocessor, whether microprocessor is reading from memory or writing into a memory, or reading from input device or writing into output device, or it is interrupted by another device. What operation microprocessor is performing at that particular time, we can check from the status signal. So this 34 pin, it is again a multiplexed. It is performing dual task. What dual task? If this pin IO/M bar, that is pin number 34, IO/M bar, if this pin is carrying 1, that is high signal, it indicates that microprocessor is performing a task with input output device. If this pin number 34 is carrying 0, indicates that the microprocessor is performing an operation with memory. This S1 and S0, these two signals are indicated to perform which types of machine. We will see in further lectures also the status of microprocessor, whether microprocessor is interrupted, microprocessor is doing memory write cycle or memory read cycle. There are 7 types of cycles. So with this 3 signals we can have 8 combinations, but we are using 7 combinations to represent the each task. So there are 7 machine cycles, that 7 tasks broadly we can say, and then we have a combination of these tasks to perform all the operation by the microprocessor. The next group is of interrupt signal. Already we have covered this in last lecture, general interrupts, that there are 2 types of interrupts, hardware and software, or you can have software maskable and non-maskable. And if I say interrupt is nothing but disturbance in a particular task. Whenever microprocessor is performing any particular task, it is get another signal from next to perform some other task, that is the disturbance, or you can say the interrupt. So whenever we say that interrupt is there, microprocessor will suspend that particular current operation and go and perform the dedicated task and then come back and do its normal operation. So there are 2 types of interrupts, as I told, hardware and software. So in case of hardware, we need some pin where the other device can interrupt the microprocessor. So in case of 8085, we have 5 hardware interrupts: trap, RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5 and INTR. These are the 5 hardware interrupts. In these 5 hardware interrupts, we can again classify it into maskable and non-maskable. So trap are non-maskable and other 4 are maskable interrupts. Then if I have to prioritize this 5 interrupts, then trap is having highest priority and INTR is having lowest priority, and it is again like this: trap highest priority, then RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5, and lowest priorities of INTR. Whenever any interrupt occur, if microprocessor is ready to serve that interrupt, microprocessor will generate this signal, that is at pin number 11, that is INTA, interrupt acknowledgement. Yes, that indicates that microprocessor is serving the interrupt. Okay, and it is an output signal. Rest 5 are the input signals. So, because other device can interrupt the microprocessor, and if microprocessor is ready to serve that program, then it will generate an INTA indicating that microprocessor has acknowledged the request and now it is going to serve that task. Next group is of serial input signal, IO signal, that is there are two signals, SID and SOD. These are here at pin number 4 and pin number 5. Pin number 5 is serial input data, that is input signal. Pin number 4 is serial out, that is output. So, whenever microprocessor has to communicate serially, microprocessor use these two signals. If microprocessor has to communicate parallelly, that is 8-bit data at a time, then microprocessor use these lines, pin number 12 to 18. So, this is the difference. If serial communication has to be taken place, microprocessor use pin number 4 and pin number 5, and if microprocessor has to communicate parallel data, then it will use pin number 12 to pin number 19 to transfer the data. Then there is, I told you, that is DMA, that is direct memory access signal. This DMA controller will takes the control from microprocessor about the buses and perform the task. So, for that it will have two signals, hold and HLDA. So, hold signal is generated by that DMA, and this signal is input to the microprocessor. You can see that pin number 39 is working as an input signal and pin number 38 is working as an output signal, because microprocessor if releases the control of buses, before releasing the control of buses, microprocessor will generate this signal, that is HLDA, indicating that a microprocessor is giving this buses control of buses to DMA. Okay. And after this only we can see the status of microprocessor at S0 and S1, that it is performing some DMA operation. Okay. And lastly, the group is reset signal, and in this group we are having two pins. One is reset in, that is active low signal. So, whenever I have to restart my microprocessor 8085, I will send a signal, that is active low signal, at this pin. And whenever the active low signal is available at this reset pin, microprocessor will restart, then program counter is pointing to 000H location, and it will not it will not perform any task, it will restart the system. We will have an hardware at our laptop or our desktop also. If we have our system get hangs, we will push that button and our system get restart, that is hardware button is available with us. So, that switch is connected to this RST in pin, and if microprocessor has to restart some other device, then it will use this reset out. It is available at pin number 3. Okay. So, this pin number 3 is used by microprocessor to reset another device or whichever device is connected with this microprocessor in a system. So, these are the 40 pins. We have covered all these 40 pins. So, you have to remember this with their function, then only it will be easy for you to memorize it, and we will see this again in detail in the architecture part of 8085. So, right now this lecture we have covered about the 40 pins. That first block cover power supply and clock frequency, then we are having address and data lines, then we are having control signals, we are having interrupt signals, we are having status signals, and we are having DMA signals, serial signals, and reset signal. So, we group them into 7 groups so as to memorize it. So, this is all about 8085 pin diagram. Thank you.